All right, for what feels like forever, there's been one debate, right? Messi or Ronaldo. It's dominated sports for almost 2 decades. But what if that question just didn't exist? What if the two greatest rivals of all time were actually teammates? Well, welcome to AIV. Today we're jumping headfirst into that exact parallel reality. We're going to explore the ultimate what if. Let's get into it.
You know, when you think about it, every great era in sports, it's defined by a rivalry, isn't it? I mean, think about Ali versus Frazier, Magic versus Bird, Federer versus Nadal. These clashes, they're more than just games. They're what create the legends. It's the rivalry that pushes these athletes past what we thought was humanly possible, writing stories that we'll be telling forever. All that tension, that drama, that constant need to be better than the other guy, that's the fuel. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds like something straight out of FIFA Career Mode, right? But believe it or not, back in 2018, there were these wild rumors of a secret meeting that got everyone dreaming. A fantasy that, honestly, could have completely changed the sports world as we know it. So what if they did it? What if the two icons, the two undisputed GOATs, actually joined forces? What would that world even look like?
All right, Section 1, a glitch in the matrix. Let's talk about the impossible on-pitch partnership. So, first things first, the biggest question of them all, how would these two titans actually play together on a football pitch? And look, the answer isn't just that they'd be good. No. They would be perfectly, almost impossibly complementary.
I mean, just think about the tactical logic for a second. It's flawless. On one hand, you've got Lionel Messi, the ultimate creator. This is a guy whose entire genius is built on seeing passes no one else even dreams of, and he draws defenders to him like moths to a flame. And then on the other hand, you have Cristiano Ronaldo, the ultimate predator, a goal-scoring machine who is just ruthless and unbelievably efficient. Can you just imagine a world where Ronaldo doesn't have to drop deep to fight for the ball anymore? His only job would be to find an inch of space and wait for that magical defense-splitting pass from Messi. I mean, come on. It's a match made in football heaven.
Okay, let's get into the numbers, because this is where things just get absurd. Seriously. Some analysts have estimated that in a partnership like this, Cristiano Ronaldo alone could have hit 80 goals in a single season. 80! Think about that. Why? Well, because the level of service he'd be getting would be something the world has literally never seen before. And for Messi, the equation is just as mind-blowing. With Ronaldo in the box occupying 2, maybe even 3 defenders at all times, the amount of space that would open up for Leo would be infinite. The entire pitch would basically become his personal playground.
So here's the bottom line. You wouldn't be watching a football team anymore. Not really. What you'd be witnessing is a cheat code that's come to life, a completely unstoppable force of nature that just bends the rules of the game to its will. It would be a beautiful and, frankly, a terrifying glitch in the matrix.
All right, Section 2, the billion-dollar brand. Let's look at building an off-pitch empire, because of course, this whole story goes way beyond the pitch. The combined force of their personal brands, well, that would create an economic and cultural empire that the world has, quite simply, never seen before. And look, we are talking about so much more than just endorsements and sneaker deals here. This is about the birth of a modern-day royal dynasty. Just picture it. Georgina Rodriguez and Antonella Rakucu, two unbelievably savvy and influential women in their own right teaming up. They wouldn't just be wags, they'd be a business powerhouse, launching global fashion lines running massive charitable foundations. And what about the kids? Can you imagine Thiago Messi and Cristiano Jr. training together side by side, learning from both masters? This brand, it wouldn't just be valuable, it would be a global institution, with a value bigger than the GDP of some countries. To really wrap your head around the scale of this thing, you first have to understand the war they represented. For decades, these two guys were basically the generals in a global Cold War between the two biggest sportswear giants on the planet, Nike and Adidas. Every single Ballon d'Or, every Champions League trophy, it was a victory for one brand and a defeat for the other. They were the faces of the war. But if they played for the same team, that war would just stop, poof, gone. Can you imagine the corporate meltdown? What would even happen? Well, what might emerge is something we've never seen before. The first co-branded kit in history. A jersey with the Nike swoosh on one sleeve for Ronaldo and the Adidas 3 stripes on the other for Messi. That's not just a shirt, people. That is a corporate peace treaty. It's a global economic reset button for the entire industry. And the result of that peace treaty? A near-total monopoly. The combined Messi-Ronaldo brand, backed by both Nike and Adidas, would instantly control something like 90% of the entire global sportswear market. Everyone else, every other brand, they'd be left fighting for the 10% of scraps left over. The gravitational pull of their combined star power would just be inescapable. Okay, Section 3,
rewriting the world, where greatness becomes reality bending. Because at this point, their influence starts to bleed out beyond football, beyond even business, and it begins to actively reshape the world around them. Their greatness becomes, well, reality bending?
Just stop and think about the demand for a second. Every single match they played together would be sold out probably for years in advance. So, how do you satisfy the billions of fans around the world who are desperate to watch them? Well, you accelerate the future. This partnership would have been the catalyst, the spark, for what we're calling the digital stadium, a fully immersive metaverse platform. We're talking about VR technology leaping forward by a decade, all driven by one single goal: letting a fan anywhere on Earth feel like they are right there, on the pitch, next to their heroes.
Back on the actual pitch, though, their perfection creates a problem, a huge problem. Think about it. If one team is basically guaranteed to win every single game, every single trophy, year after year, what happens to the league? The league itself becomes broken. The very idea of competition, which is the lifeblood of all sports, is suddenly under threat.
So to save football from being completely dominated, FIFA might have been forced to do something truly unthinkable. They might have had to introduce something called handicap rules. Yeah, actual official regulations designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to level the playing field against this one single superpowered team.
And the kinds of rules we're talking about here, they are just staggering to even think about. What if opposing teams were allowed to play with 12 men? Or what if every goal scored against the Messi-Ronaldo team counted for double? Or maybe they'd just have to start every single match with a one-goal deficit. It sounds completely insane, I know, but their greatness would have been so far beyond anything we consider normal competition that the game itself would have had to literally change its rules just to survive.
And this power, this reality-bending power, it would go way beyond sport. They wouldn't just be athletes representing a club or a country anymore. No, they would become ambassadors for a new kind of nation, a borderless nation, a global community of billions, all united simply by their shared admiration.
Let's put this into perspective. A single, coordinated Instagram post from both of them at the same time could reach an estimated 50% of the entire human population. 50%! That is a level of soft power that most politicians couldn't even dream of. Imagine them organizing a match for peace in a conflict zone. What kind of impact would that have? It would be immeasurable. This isn't just influence anymore. This is a legitimate tool for global diplomacy. All right, Section 4, the final question. Was their rivalry a gift? Because after going down this rabbit hole, after exploring this absolutely wild alternate reality, we have to come back to Earth for a second and ask a really important question. We've seen all the power they would have had together, but did we actually lose something in this hypothetical world? Is it possible their separation was actually a gift to all of us? And here's the paradox of it all. In a world where you know the outcome of every single match before it even starts, does the magic just die? Do those constant crushing victories eventually just become predictable, maybe even boring? I mean, the whole beauty of sport is its uncertainty, right? The not knowing. By becoming a certainty, they might have accidentally killed the very thing that made us all fall in love with the game in the first place.
And you know, maybe that's the ultimate takeaway here. By being apart, they became immortal. It was their rivalry, that constant nagging need to be better than the other guy, that pushed them to shatter every single record. It's what forced them to go beyond what we thought was possible. When they were apart, they had to fight for their greatness every single day. Together, who knows? Maybe they would have coasted. Their separation is what made them the legends they are.
So, in the end, maybe destiny gave us the best possible story after all. Instead of one single unbeatable empire, we got two warring kingdoms. We got a solid decade of El Clasicos that felt like they were battles for the fate of the entire universe. We got a billion different memories of pure individual brilliance. And honestly, dreaming of what could have been, that's probably the most beautiful what-if in the entire history of sports.
But I have to leave you with one final impossible question. I want you to picture this. It's the Champions League final. The score is tied. We're in the 90th minute, and your team has just won a penalty. This is it, the ultimate moment of pressure. Who are you giving the ball to? Who takes the shot? Do you give it to the calm, creative genius, the magician himself, Lionel Messi? Or do you give it to the ice-cold, clinical finisher, the machine, Cristiano Ronaldo?
Honestly, there's probably no wrong answer here, but we absolutely want to know yours. Drop a comment below and tell us who you'd pick and why. And hey, If you enjoyed this journey into the impossible, do us a favor and hit that like button, and definitely subscribe to AIV for more deep dives into the biggest what-ifs in sports and beyond. Thanks so much for watching.